Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Practice with Monica, the place where practicing English is simple, clear, and fun. I'm Monica. Have you ever sat in an international meeting or opened a work email and thought, I know what I want to say, but I don't know how to say it professionally in English? Or maybe you felt like your English sounded too direct, or even a little rude, without meaning to be. Don't worry, you're not alone. In today's episode, we're going over the exact phrases, emails, and everyday expressions that native speakers actually use in modern workplaces. No boring business textbooks, just real, practical office English. Let's get right into it. Let's start with one of the most important skills in a professional environment: softening your requests. In many languages, being direct is fine, but in English corporate culture, being too direct can sound aggressive. For example, if you tell a colleague, "Send me the file now," it sounds like a demand. Instead, we use softening phrases. Could you please send me the file when you get a chance? Or even softer, whenever you have a moment, could you share that report with me? Notice the phrase, when you get a chance, or whenever you have a moment. These small additions show respect for your colleague's time, while still getting the job done. Now, let's talk about emails. If you want your emails to sound more natural, here are a few simple changes. Instead of saying, "Dear," "Sir" or "Madame," try, "I hope you're having a great week." It sounds much warmer and more friendly. If you're writing a second email, instead of repeating yourself, say, "I'm just following up on my previous email regarding." And when you finish your email, skip "yours faithfully." It sounds a bit old-fashioned. Instead, use "best regards" or simply "best." And if you're asking someone for a favor, you can end with "thanks in advance for your help." These small changes will make your emails sound more modern, natural, and professional. Pocket expressions. Now it's time for one of my favorite parts of the episode, pocket expressions. These are short expressions that native speakers use all the time in the workplace. If you learn these phrases, you'll sound much more natural in meetings, emails, and everyday conversations at work. Let's start with touch base. When someone says, "Let's touch base," they don't mean touching anything. This expression simply means to have a short conversation or a quick check-in. It's a very common way to suggest a brief meeting or a quick update. For example, "Let's touch base tomorrow morning before the client meeting." In other words, let's meet for a few minutes, make sure everything is ready, and answer any last-minute questions. Another expression you'll hear constantly is "loop someone in." To loop someone in means to include another person in a conversation, an email, or a project, so they know what's happening. It's a professional way of saying, let's keep this person informed. For example, make sure to loop Sarah in on this email so she knows the timeline. This tells everyone that Sarah should receive the email because the information is important for her work. Now let's look at another expression that often confuses English learners: bandwidth. Normally, bandwidth is a technology term, but in the workplace, it has a completely different meaning. When someone says, "I don't have the bandwidth," they mean they don't have enough time, energy, or mental capacity to take on more work. For example, "I'd love to help with that project, but I don't have the bandwidth this week." Notice that this is a polite way to say you're busy. Instead of simply saying, "I'm too busy," you're expressing it in a professional and respectful way. Now let's improve some common workplace English. Many learners say, "I don't understand what you mean." Although it's grammatically correct, it can sound a little direct, especially during a meeting. Sometimes the other person may feel that you're criticizing the way they explain something. A more professional approach is to ask for clarification politely. You can say, "Could you clarify what you mean by that?" Or, "Just to make sure we're on the same page, could you elaborate on that point?" These expressions show that you're interested in understanding, not disagreeing. They create a more collaborative atmosphere and help conversations flow more smoothly. Small changes like these can make a big difference in how professional you sound. Let's put everything together. Imagine you're working in an office. You're responsible for a presentation, but the project has been delayed because you're still waiting for some information from another department. You need to update your team professionally. You could say, "Hi team, I just wanted to touch base regarding the quarterly presentation. We've made great progress, but I'm still waiting on a few numbers from marketing. I've looped David in to help speed things up. Could everyone please review their slides when you get a chance? Thanks in advance for your help." Notice how many useful expressions appear naturally in just a few sentences. You use touch base to introduce the update. You use looped David in to explain that another team member has been included in the conversation. You politely ask your colleagues to review their slides. And you finish by thanking them in advance, which sounds respectful and professional. This is exactly how modern business English sounds in many international companies. And that's all for today's episode. Now it's your turn to practice. Which office expression do you hear the most, or which one would you like to start using? Write your answer in the comments, and let's practice together. If you enjoyed this episode and learned something new, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with anyone who uses English at work. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode. Keep learning, keep practicing, and keep improving your English every single day.